Hello, my name is Nicole Smith, and this is the Teaching and Learning Best Practices presentation for the Extra Teacher Leader assignment. This presentation is from a collaborative effort with myself and the other reading specialists in Calhoun County, and we went over many things that had to do with RTI and tiers of instruction for all of our teachers in grades K through 3 at all of our schools. The main purpose behind this was for teachers to be more intentional with their standards and instructional strategies for Tier 1, because in theory, if your Tier 1 instruction is solid, then you will have less students in Tier 2 and Tier 3. So we really focused on the tiers of instruction as well as the impact that they can have on social and emotional behaviors, because the overall goal is to eliminate the learning gaps specifically for those tier 2 and tier 3 students. So your students are going to get on grade level, which will increase their confidence. So differentiation plays into your tiers of instruction because it is so student-centered and individualized based on the child's needs, interest, background, their ability. Teachers can differentiate based on a variety of things: your content, the process and activities, in delivery, as well as the final product and the learning environment that is most conducive to the needs of diverse learners. So whenever you have differentiated activities and instruction that's tailored to meet student needs, then they're going to be more positive about their own academic self-concepts according to research. Next, we're talking about our learning targets, and we feel like learning targets were a significant part of your tier 1 instruction because it's going to be smaller versions of the standards, and so that way they provide a step-by-step process towards mastery. So this is going to take place over multiple days instead of just giving one learning goal or the standard. It allows teachers to be um, just more insightful about where they can identify gaps in student learning. So like where that disconnect is occurring, if they can pinpoint it back to a target instead of just saying, well, they've missed the whole standard. So your impact here is that students are more focused during instruction because they know what's expected of them. And so that contributes to a positive behavior as well. Next, we're going to be looking at before, during, and after strategies as our best practices. So your before strategies are going to be used to hook students into the lesson. They are used to create student interest and engagement, activate that schema and background knowledge, and provide the teacher with quick formative assessments of what students may already know or what they do not know before they begin the lesson. So this impact on your before, using before strategies for students is that they're able to kind of self-reflect on things that they're already familiar with, and also being able to share those experiences. Also, according to research, before strategies are going to help set a purpose for learning, which helps students be more prepared for their learning targets for the lesson. So regardless, we are looking at how students can feel more confident in their academic self-concept. Your during strategies are going to come during that explicit instructional time. So thinking back to that tier 1, so very explicit, where you establish the engagement for students that's going to help guide them through their learning, as well as monitoring comprehension. So effective during strategies are going to be very student-centered, and they allow frequent opportunities for collaboration and interaction with both the content, the teacher, and one another. And this is going to, again, impact students positively in social and emotional ways, because they're building that supportive environment with one another based on the teacher's supervision and guidance through all of their interactive and collaborative interactions with one another. So then we also have our after strategies. These are mainly going to be used to gather data on the students in an informal way, providing that insight on how well the students can understand and demonstrate their understanding of the content. So it's referring back to your learning targets as a best practice, and letting students be able to self-reflect and even self-assess themselves. And provide meaningful insight again for teachers that's going to drive their instruction for the next lesson. Multiple intelligences was also discussed during collaboration on this presentation, because your theory of multiple intelligences is going to appeal intentionally to just multiple types of students. So that way they will feel successful and knowledgeable at least some point during their learning. Multiple intelligences also is going to appeal to those social and emotional intelligences in the educational environment. And it's just this way of making sure that all students feel that they can contribute. This is the way that they are most adept at learning. And so this is a great way for students to be able to share with one another the way that they can acquire that information and work with that new information, whether it be spatially, naturally, musically, mathematically, existentially, interpersonally, intrapersonally, kinesthetically, or linguistically. It just allows everyone to have their moment to shine. Cooperative learning is another best practice. It is very student-centered. You've got students that are given tasks, usually a well-defined task as well, where that way the group can accomplish each part of the lesson, a different component together. So cooperative learning is going to promote your cooperativeness, interdependence, accountability, and also responsibility for learning among all of the students that are involved, according to research. This practice increases those positive social and emotional behaviors because they are all working together throughout the lesson and the learning process. Jigsaw is a type of cooperative learning. It's a strategy where your students are going to become mini experts. So again, it's very similar to cooperative learning in that in Jigsaw, each student has a job to do, and they're going to become more knowledgeable about a subject, and then return back to their home group and be able to share the information that they've learned. So according to research here, Jigsaw helps improve listening, communication, and problem-solving skill with their peers. So all students have important ideas and information that contribute to this activity. So even for your lower achieving students, they're going to be able to hear ideas while they're in their expert group and be able to come back and share them with their home group. It really is a way for all students to become like masters of this content and this topic, whatever it is that they're talking about and studying, and being able to share that back at their group. It really builds that positive social and emotional interactions where they all can feel successful. STEM learning is another fantastic best practice. These are going to be instructional components that are going to incorporate some kind of project-based learning and increase higher order thinking skills. And I know that most teachers will find in their classrooms that while a student may not be very adept like academically in terms of like test taking abilities, usually your kids that don't perform very well on on like book smarts. They're very knowledgeable and adept with their hands and with their creativity. And so STEM learning includes just a solid framework about relating math and science content in a very student-centered approach where they're designing, engaging with motivating learning experiences, as well as engineering design and redesign as a challenge. And this is going to encourage students to learn from their mistakes and to work collaboratively, which feeds right into that positive social and emotional behaviors. So even if students are wrong, they can learn from each other and rework their failures into success together. And what's really awesome about STEM learning is it's usually going to be the book smart kids that are struggling because they don't like to be wrong. And whenever you're doing STEM learning, you're wrong a lot. And so for your students who might achieve at a slower pace or just not your straight A students, this is their moment again to shine. So it's appealing to those diverse learners in just a best practice kind of way. So everyone can feel successful at some point. So again, all of these collaborators were a part of just some of the ideas that went into creating this assignment. So myself, and then we have several of our countywide reading specialist, as well as my school interventionist here, who's just amazing at sharing these different ideas. So here are our references from the assignment as well, and how those best practices can support students socially and emotionally. So thank you.